Let us prepare ourselves now for even more receiving. Mylene has set it up. Everybody has been setting up this time together tonight. As we were praying up, we were praying for the service. We were praying for you. We were praying that this indeed would be a balm of Gilead, a time for healing, a time for revealing. Yes, a time for loving. As Mylene was just singing that, I was reminded of how much we have to learn. It feels as though, my friends, we have to learn about what it means to love from the highest place. And so let us ready ourselves tonight to do this work, to get real, to cut the crap. That's the name of the service. Let's cut the crap, my friends. I'm sorry if it's a little too raw, but you know what? We have to cut the crap. Let's get real with this. Let's completely just avail ourselves to what God, whatever you believe God is, okay? Wants for us, wants for you, wants for our world, wants for this society, wants for this culture. We have to cut the crap. I believe at our deepest, innermost being, we know how to love from the highest place. I believe that, absolutely. I want to claim that as truth right now. That in that innermost place where nothing has happened, nothing and no one can squander, that you know exactly what is true, you know exactly what is up, you know exactly how to love from the highest place. Amen on this. We have to claim that as truth. But what happens in our lives? What happens in our lives is that as we get older, as we change, we saw this young person leading us in the breathing tonight. See, it's unfettered at that time. And as we get older, the lies come in, the doubt comes in, the socialization of violence, violent systems and the structures, it beats us down. We begin to internalize this. We begin to internalize that which does not belong to us, that which never belonged to us. We begin to internalize. And what happens, my friends, is our soul becomes sick. We got to cut the crap. So let's do that. Let's come back. Right now, I invite you all, close your eyes with me, please. Come back. Remember a time, maybe very, very long ago. Remember a time where you knew exactly what was true. Where you just knew there was an inner knowing, a high knowing. Yes, come on now, come on. Go back to this time. Maybe it was when you felt very connected to God, a Godhead, if you will. However you believe, again, however you believe in God, maybe it was a time when you felt very connected to a higher power, your higher self, or a sense of love. Come back to this time, my friends. We need to come back to this time. See, we know what's up. We know what's up. The lie is that we begin to think that we don't know. I want to speak to our highest selves right now. I want to speak to this place within all of us and say, let's cut the crap. We don't need to believe the lies of violence. No. We need to come back to that place of holy knowing. I hope you feel this with me, my friends. I hope you do. It's imperative that we come back. God is inviting us. Let us go now into the sermon that was prepared for you, if I can. If you recall, we have been in the hope cycle. And the hope cycle teaching is a 7-stage journey. It is a 7-stage process. It begins in the dark night of the soul, but it doesn't end there, does it? No. In that first stage that is so despondent, that is so remote, that is so stark, that is in the desert, where you are crying out to God, please come be with me, and you feel like you are in fact completely alone. We see that the divine spark, this candle, is illuminated in front of us, and we feel hope again. We are reminded that we are alive. And as the stages went on, and I don't have time, I don't want to keep us here too long tonight. As the stages go on in this cycle, we are reminded of stage 2, curiosity. And there's a sense of what if my life could change? It's that moment in your life where you have been in that darkness and you go, you know what? Oh, wow. What if there is an ability for things to change for me? It's that moment where we had hope just at the end of the year. Everyone's excited about 2021. What if this country could change? What if this world could change? That's the curiosity. But the third stage was even more of a burgeoning with that, because it lifted us up into wonder. Do you recall? Some of you might that have been here. And in that wonder place, we no longer asked what if, we actually came back to a newness around believing. Yes, we began to believe, like, yes, this is possible. My life is going to change. And in fact, I have to lift this up right now. I guess I'm going to go over a little bit of the hope cycle with you, I guess, yes. That I pose this, that change is always happening, but that we have to choose which way the pendulum is going to swing. We do have agency. It is very important to choose justice and to choose a higher love. We can't just think that we're just going to pray this stuff away and we're going to just meditate. That is spiritual bypass. No, we have to center God, yes, or however one again believes about God here. And we have to choose. And so that's when I said to you, do you remember? I said, what are you committed to? What are you committed to in this stage of wonder? I was very specific. I said, are you committed to victimhood? Are you committed to perpetratorhood? Coming up with words. Are you committed to the violent operating systems? Are you committed to a white supremacy culture that we have actually all suffered from? Nobody wins. Are you committed to those things? And do you remember? I also said, look, be honest about it. Be honest. If that's where you're at, then be honest. Let's get clear. Let's cut the crap, right? It was in this stage of wonder, however, something miraculous happened, because in this place of acknowledging maybe our broken pieces, maybe even the places of resistance, where we go, I just can't do this. I cannot not be a victim, pardon the double negatives. That we were able to actually rise to our feet in the spirit of wonder, amplifying us. Feel this. And so we left the desert. We left the starkness of the desert. And do you remember where we ended up? We ended up in the water. See, the water is the divine feminine. It is everything that our society and our culture doesn't want us to know about or remember or teach us. See, the water pushes back on the patriarchy and all of those uglinesses. Yes. And so we swam there together, not alone, together. We swam in this water, in this, yes, holy elixir. Yes, we did. Oh, and it was wonderful. But as with most things in life, I won't say that most things in life, they come to an end. I will say it had to shift. And so from there, we were called into the jungle. Do you recall? We were called into the jungle. Yes. And the jungle was the fourth stage of exploration. And it was there that we pushed away the foliage and the branches, and we began to just come into a little more awareness around, yes, violence. And Manny, if you want to put the definition of violence in the chat, please feel free. And we began to look at parts of even our own selves. Remember, that was the challenge. What are the parts of me that are addicted to violence? What are the parts of me that replicate this stuff? And we just began to become willing to look in this jungle setting. But then a funny thing happened, that as we pushed these things away, we also had an illumination, get this, of beauty and the gifts that we bring. See, everything in life, my friends, it's a both and. That's why life is so complex. We are so complex. Everything is so complex. It's not just this, it's not just that. The jungle contains so much, much like the cave where we have been for goodness, some weeks now, haven't we? I'm sure some of you are like, can we get out of this cave, Rev? Can we get out of the cave? And so, but wait. I see the little laughy faces. We heard a voice. Do you recall? We heard this voice as we were just coming at the edge of the jungle. We heard the voice. And I said, the voice of God calling to us. I really liked that sermon. If you haven't watched it, please do. It's one of my faves because I didn't do anything like I was supposed to that night. And that whole sermon of come be with me. Come be with me, said God to us. And we heeded the call and we went into the cave. Oh, feel it. We went into this holiest of holies to be with spirit, to be with love. We took the proverbial knapsack that was the previous stages. Let's list them. Hope, the hope that was in the knapsack. All of the pieces of curiosity was in the knapsack, the pieces of wonder, the exploration. And we heaved it onto the floor of the cave and we sat with God. We sat with love. Maybe you sat with your highest self. Oh, and what a time it has been in this cave. What a time it has been. As we heard, come be with me, we said to God, we said, come be with us. See, that's the reciprocity. We have a right to say that. We have a right to say, hey, we need you. And maybe some of you have felt that this week in a stage of such a forlorn and confusion since Wednesday, since this violence. Again, another violent episode. Make no mistake, it is not a surprise. And I'm going to get there because that's actually the main thing I wanted to talk about. Is we said, God, come be with us. So the cave holds a lot. The cave holds all of those pieces of the knapsack. The cave holds your grief, your unprocessed grief, maybe the grief that you are processing. It also holds your dreams. It holds the dreams, your dreams that maybe you have pushed back away into a cupboard. Oh, and what did I say to you last time? I said, no. Those dreams need to come forward. If there is grief there, then we look at the grief. And then you sit with those pockets and those places of grief and you nurture them because your dreams are important. See, every time, let's say it now, I'm going to repeat what I said last time. Every time we say yes to our dreams, we are able that much more to say yes to someone else's dream. Yes. And then from there, this is where it really gets good. This is where we can hit the ground running. We begin to, come on now, to create the collective dream. And that is the dream for justice, for everyone, for people in marginalized communities. That is the dream for equity. That is the dream for, whoa, I'm going to knock over the sign behind me. That is the dream for equality. That is the dream for a positive peace, not just any peace. No. This is the presence of the values that we say we believe in. And we're bringing it home. We are actually bringing it now. See, when we say yes to these dreams, oh, come on. We say yes to other people's dreams, become that much more emphatic to support communities' dreams, that much more resilient. Oh, and then we begin to create the collective dream. Dreaming matters. When we dream, we are closest to God. When we dream, we are closest to God. What happens though if we stay in the cave? If we stay in the cave, we run risk of not dreaming, but just sleeping. We run risk of being unaware. We cannot run that risk. There is no wiggle room. So that's why I said it's time, all of us, to look at parts of ourselves that are unaware, that want to stay in the cave and just kind of go, oh, no, no, no. No, see, dreaming, being awake in dreaming is very different than nodding off to sleep. Oh, it's just, this world is so hard. It's just so tough. Yeah, you know what it is? It is. But see, the fantasy is that this is supposed to be easy. No, it's not. Life is everything. It is the grief and the pain and the violence. And it is also the beauty and the choice that we have for transformation, for the possibility. And there is always possibility, my friends. There is always the potential for anything and everything to change. Amen. There is always this possibility. If there is nothing else that you think about when you think of this hope cycle, it is that we are visionaries. We are holding the bar high, saying, I believe that the change is coming, that it is happening, that transformation is always possible. See, we must take this on with no hesitation. So no, we can't stay in the cave. It's funny because I think at times we want to feel just secure, like in this little cubby hole, like staying in the nest kind of thing, like just stay in the nest. But at some point, God is going to say, after that, come be with me. We're saying, come be with us. The bellow of the Lord, bellow of God, bellow of love, saying, leave the cave. Leave the cave. Hey, leave the cave. We have to leave the cave. So let's get a little more into it. Let's get a little more into it. And then I'm going to give you the 3 tools like I like to do. It's my little Virgo brain wanting to be strategic. But I just want to break a few more things down. Okay. There's something I have seen in it for a long time, and it's a grave concern, and that is this: that there is an episode of violence that happens, a shooting upon a place of worship, when things escalated in the summer of 18, where immigrant families were being separated and children were being put in cages. This Wednesday, with this domestic terrorism through white supremacy. And there is a mystified quality that maybe you don't fall into this, okay? But a lot of people do, where they go, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. No. This is where it's at, my friends. How many more examples do we need? Those of you that have studied the cycle of violence, maybe some of you have lived it in a domestic violence situation. I know a lot of us have. Think about it in this way. There is a violent episode that happens between said couple. And then that person who's on the receiving end of the abuse often is surprised. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened again. I can't believe they abused me again. I can't believe they did this again. See, it is when that person receiving the violence, receiving the abuse goes, it happened again. Okay, this is where my life is. And what am I going to do about it? Coming out of the denial, coming out of the surprise is how we begin to leave the cave. We must leave the cave in this way. We can no longer stay asleep. We can't afford it. We cannot afford it. People are dying. Black people are being shot due to policing. Brown people are being shot due to policing. Do I need to give more examples? You could fill them in the chat. All of these mushrooming out of this violence. There should be no more surprise seeing what we saw on Wednesday on the television. Okay, why does this matter? This matters because every time we fall into mystified place or into surprise or shock around it, we lose. Okay, sorry. That distraction, it turns us away from vital opportunity to motivate and move. Do you see what I'm saying? There is no time. We cannot be surprised any longer. It is not about living in a state of hypervigilance and going, okay, I'm ready for the next violence. It is about being aware, coming into right alignment, being in high heart love, being like the owl in the tree, owls being very wise in viewing this and going, I see what is absolutely going on here. And now, instead of getting enveloped in distraction, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, going, okay, how are we going to create change? Tonight, I invite us to leave the cave. I invite us to leave the parts of ourselves that want to go to sleep, the parts of ourselves that stay unaware to all forms of violence, like Manny put in the chat with this definition. We must leave the cave. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, but this stuff hurts. This is painful. This is tragic. Yes, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And if that is you right now, then you use the spiritual tools you get at this service. You go to those places within yourself and you nurture them. You call in God, you call in prayer, and then you get back up on your feet and you motivate and move with us. See, the next stage, my friends, when we leave this cave, is the stage of believing. Stage 6, believe. So we have to be absolutely in high resolve. Now, some of you may think, but I'm not ready then. I'm not ready. I don't know if I believe that this world can change. I don't know if I believe that any of these systems of oppression and violence are really ever going to stop. Wow. Ooh, feel that doubt. I just felt that doubt. Let me tell you a story. I was so scared when I was going to be ordained. And for the pastors on this call, and I know there's at least one, I believe, couple. I don't know how it was for them, but I know when in 2011 and 12, leading up to ordination, I was really afraid. I remember thinking, I didn't ask for this call. I didn't ask for this life. I am not ready. I'm not ready to leave the cave, so to speak. And I remember sitting with my blessed spiritual director, Megan Wagner, and I sat there, I'm going back in time, and I remember with tears in my eyes, I said, I don't think I can do this. And she said, you already are. And she looked at me with such a face of love, and she said, we're waiting for you. They're waiting for us, my friends. For those of you that have doubts, that feel surprised, that don't know if we're ever going to get to the mountaintop, like Dr. King so beautifully outlined in all of the leaders from the past. all of the people that we look to. We must believe. We must move forward. And we must realize that we have to be those people now. And so tonight, I want to enlist you, enlist all of us, into taking up the charge more than we ever have, into leaving the cave, any places that we are unaware, any places that we still subscribe to violence, and to make the commitment to every single day, leave the cycle of violence. This is what God wants for us. This is what love wants for us. We also have to remember, for those of us with privilege, various kinds of privilege, we must work for liberation. We must. And that it's a joy too, that it's a responsibility, that we actually get to be here. Yeah, this is a really hard time to be alive that we incarnated right now. But you know what? Like I said, the fantasy is that this was supposed to be easy. It's not. This wasn't supposed to be easy. 3 tools. Let's write them down if you want in the chat or in your journals if you have them. When you feel like you can't leave the cave, or when you see yourself maybe subscribing back to violence, or when you see surprise coming in, because there's going to be something else that comes, my friends. I'm sorry to say, but we know it. I want you to center God, whatever you believe about God. Okay? You center God, you call God in, you do it with your prayer. Manny, remember those spiritual tools. You don't have to let them, we'll post them in the group. If you don't know, there's like 30 something spiritual tools, and you can add more to them. You call in your spiritual tools. Number 1, you center God. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to give you 2. I want to keep this. I want to keep this in the soul. I'm not going to take us into the head. The second thing is something called seva. Seva is a Sanskrit word. It means selfless service. Between now, this Sunday, and next, let's check in on each other. So if you are on this Zoom, or if you are on Facebook and you are in our Facebook group, Revolution of Love, Ministry and Movement Facebook group, I want you to somehow, some way connect with at least one other person. Let us build this community. I don't want us to just sit here in our little boxes and then leave. I want us to check in on each other. Let someone know you care. Send some love to somebody. Maybe you just DM them on Facebook and you say, hey, I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of you this week. Between now and Sunday, that is homework. I want every single one of us to do it. If you don't have access to the Facebook group, then Manny, yeah, that is homework. Yes, I see Manny laughing. Then send something to Manny saying, hey, I don't have access to the Facebook group, and we'll set you up. We'll figure it out together. Let's get creative. We have to get creative during these times of pandemic that we are on Zoom, but we have to do this, my friends. We have to connect with each other. And that means seva. That means selfless service. You know, sometimes for years, I'm always thinking, I know how desolate things are in people's lives, and I do some coddling, because I know how hard life is for some of you. And so that's why I don't always charge you out with getting into service. Right now, we have to. You have to. And it's going to help you if you are in that period of feeling like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. This will help you. This will help you to be of service to someone else. Seva. Selfless service, checking in on one another. Yeah, that's basically it. If we get down, if we stop believing, if we want to stay sleeping in the cave, not churning and burning and not dreaming, but just sleeping, then we remember. Look around right now. If you're on the gallery view, and if you're on Facebook, hi, we love you. Then we remember each other. We remember you're not alone. Please don't ever think you're alone. And you center God, you center your spiritual practice. And please let us check in on each other in that save us spirit. This is basic. The solution never really changes that much, my friends. When we come into this place of what are we going to do? How are we going to change the world? You know what? It's always the same solution. It's very simple. It's going back to basics. It's centering God. It's being there for each other in a compassionate place. We'll leave it there this week because now we are leaving the cave and it is going to be the ascension back to love. So get ready for it, my friends. Welcome. We are the revolution of love. This is the revolution of love. And we must create it every single day, every single moment, in every single way. God bless you. God bless you. Let us fall into prayer with each other and with God. And I invite you to put those prayer requests up in the chat. First names only, please, since